Over the next few weeks, we're going to take you inside the draft process of these top prospects that will be involved in the NFL draft. On this episode, we want to focus on what happens as soon as your college career ends. And Pat P, he's mentioned to us a few episodes ago that he knew he was leaving going into his spring year at LSU. So it was a wrap. He already knew he was leaving. But Pat, when you officially made that decision to leave, how did you go about telling your coaches and your teammates that you were leaving early? And I think your last ball game was in the Citrus Bowl. Was it against, who was it? Iowa, Penn State? It was raining.
Yeah. No. My last college game was Cotton Bowl against Texas A&M.
That's okay. That was the last bowl game.
Yep. My last bowl game.
All right. So how did you go about letting your teammates, your coaches know you were leaving?
Matt, everybody already knew.
Oh, they already knew.
I ain't had to tell nobody.
Okay. All right. So next question. Well, heck, I know you remember exactly what your initial draft grade was because you were leaving early. So it had a 1 behind it. How did you go about?
Matt, I ain't even go through that, Matt. I ain't even get no draft grade.
You didn't ask for one? Yeah, I mean, it was a given because you won the Thorpe. You won all the hardware.
I told you my sophomore year, I already told Les Miles, I came here, I'm 3 and done. I'm out of there. I ain't care what my grade was. I ain't asked for my grade. I knew I was going first round because, like you said, I had just won the Thorpe. I want the best defense. I want the Jim Thorpe and the Bednarik. So I was like, oh, it's a given. Yeah, I don't need no paper to tell me where I'm going.
Okay, maybe this is an honest, fair question for you. How did you go about, hiring an agent, coming out of college, and with you being that top prospect that you were, pretty sure you had every agent that was around trying to get you to sign with them. How did you go about hiring an agent?
Oh man, now that's a really good question.
There we go. We finally got a good one. Pat P knew he was leaving when he was a 10th grader in high school. He knew he was leaving college early. So now we got a good question for him.
You got a good question in Matt. Going through the process. Honestly, with me, I had just came out of having the lockout. So and also we had it. I was coming into the league to where everything was slotted. So it was kind of difficult for me because guys didn't have to really do any leveraging or any negotiating because my contract was pretty much going to be set.
Yep.
It was pretty much going. Whatever it is, that's what it's going to be because everything is slotted. So going through that process, just listening out to the agents, making sure, they're looking at their creds first and foremost, looking at the credibility, seeing what they have done in the past, and also seeing if they're, in my opinion, I believe being a man of your word is everything. Seeing if they're able to, hold up to the things that they're promising you or the things that they're telling you. Just don't blow smoke up guys behind. And I feel like guys will figure that out throughout the first 10 words in the conversation when it comes down to picking the agent. And at the end of the day, I know a ton of agents have a ton of clients. Do your research and making sure that you reach out to those clients that if you have a desire of possibly, signing with a particular agent, doing your research and seeing how this agent is, throughout the season. Will you ever talk to him again? Will you have a personal relationship with them? Things of that sort, because at the end of the day, that goes a very long way as well. Because if you look at it, you playing this guy,
3%,
low scale, 150,000 a year.
Yeah.
What I mean? So you want to make sure that you have a relationship with a guy, that is, not controlling your fate, but at the end of the day, have an opportunity to, make you a lot of money. So I think all of those things definitely is some of my advice on these draftees coming into this league and, trying to pick the right agent for themselves. How was your process, Mac? Like I know it was a long time ago, but talk to me. How was your draft process in far as going through picking an agent? What was your initial grade? Like how did you? Because you came out as a senior, so
I didn't have the aspirations of leaving early in the 10th grade in high school, so I came out as a senior.
So tell us a little bit about your draft story, man.
My draft story is pretty good. Man, I got drafted. That's number one. I waited a little longer. I got drafted in the second round. I thought it would be, late first rounder. You were there. I forgot. Yeah, you were there. Little Pat.
Hey, man, you was hot on us too, man. Man, you kept running from us, man. I know you was upset, but you kept
I was hot. Y'all kept aggravating me, kept annoying me, man. Asking me, when you gonna get drafted? I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you. I don't know. Everybody kept asking me. I had to go in the room. I forgot you were there. Yeah. But like you said, you were there. I was annoyed. You know what I mean? And like I've said many a times on this show, there are only a few people that are happy about where they got drafted. If you go top 5, top 4, you're probably one of the few ones that I'm happy. Everybody else feel like they should get drafted higher. I don't care where you go. You feel like you should have gotten drafted higher. And I was one of those guys. I was annoyed. I was disappointed. I got drafted. Like you said, Pat was there. The rest of the family was there. Everybody enjoying themselves. And I was the one that wasn't really enjoying the moment because I waited longer than I thought. But it was a process. What I did with my agent, we had agent day at Florida State where all the juniors and seniors, the juniors that are draft eligible can meet with certain agents. You know what I mean? We would have that on one random Sunday throughout the year. You kind of get familiar. You can have your parents, your guardians there, sit with you through the entire process. So by the time I was kind of, my season was over with, I kind of had a good idea on who I was go with. I had the agent, got drafted, and instantly, I went from being disappointed to kind of coming to terms that I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler. You know what I mean? Outside of me going in the second round because I thought I should have went first round. And like you said, when you talk about educating yourself about agents, you got to understand what they bring to the table. You know what I mean? You want to be able to understand what they're doing for you, not just on the football field, but off the football field, because now it's different than when it was when I got drafted. You know what I mean? Especially in the first round guys, they was bringing in a nice handsome ransom. Now everything is slotted. You know what I mean? So agents are important, but they're not that important like they used to be when it comes to your first contract. But you still want to make sure you're involved in what's going on. You know what I mean? And understand what they're doing, what they're trying to do. And my process was, like I said, it was a little lengthy, but I was extremely happy to get drafted where I got drafted at because I met a lot of cool people. Came across a lot of nice opportunities, to say the least. So for you leave Baton Rouge, you sign with your agent. Where did you train?
I trained down in Boca Raton, man.
Okay.
FAU.
You know what? Hold that thought. We're gonna save that pre-draft workout for next week's episode. So that's what you call a tease, ladies and gentlemen. A tease. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. Has Pat heard? I saw a funny question on Twitter when I posted the sneak peek. Hey, Pat P, I posted the sneak peek of your free agent show, right? And someone commented, has Pat heard that Pat P signed with the Minnesota Vikings? Hey, I forgot. I got to look up and see exactly who sent that tweet, who commented on the post exactly. And I got to give them a shout out because when he said that, number one, he's a faithful fan of the show. Number two, that was a great question. Has Pat heard that Pat Peterson signed with the Minnesota Vikings? So it's his favorite part of the show too, as well. Thank you. Shout out. Don't worry, I'm gonna get your name and I will broadcast it next week. So this is where we check in to see how Pat P is doing. And if you don't know exactly what we're talking about, if you're new to the show, during the off season, Pat P is moving around. He's traveling, he's with the family, he's playing golf, he's doing a lot, and he's not really in tune to what's going on in the sporting world. So we decided to implement this in our show.
This week, man.
Your record so far, you're 11 of 20 when you look at stories that you've heard or you haven't heard. Number one, the first story for you.
This week. Let's go.
Did you hear about the big time draft trade that happened this past Friday?
Yes. Tell me
what three teams were involved?
Dolphins, San Fran, and the Chiefs. Let's go.
Wrong.
I'm going 100% this week. Let's go.
You're wrong.
What? Hold on, wait. So Dolphins, you talking about the Dolphin tree, right?
Yeah, okay, the Dolphins was one.
I thought it was Dolphins, San Fran, and the Chiefs.
You got San Fran. It was Dolphins.
Oh, wait, don't tell me yet, though. Dolphins,
I'm not
San Fran.
Dang it. We thought he was going to go perfect. Dang it. He done messed one already.
Damn. I thought it was the Chiefs or something.
That's what happened. You on the golf course.
Wait.
T-0.
Don't tell me yet. Dolphins, San Fran.
It's an NFC team.
It's an NFC team.
Yep.
Fudge knuckle, man.
Did you say fudge knuckle?
Yeah, I got.
That's
I got
say
kids,
around the kids. Man. Yeah, fudge.
I got kids, man. Damn it.
He was fired up too. He talking about let's go.
Oh man, I'm pissed. I missed. You said NFC team. You gave me a hint.
Yes.
It wasn't Seattle. It wasn't the Cardinals. It wasn't anybody on NFC West.
Correct.
So NFC East.
It's the East. It's the team in the East.
Oh, Philly. It was Philly.
There you go. Now listen. Philly. I think Eric, I don't know. We got to talk about this. We got to take this into the committee.
No, man.
I don't know.
That's 1 for 1. Right. Let's go. Keep it going.
Okay.
Let's go.
Real quick, what do you think about that move with San Francisco? You think Jimmy G is out of there?
Hey, what they say, they're writing on the board, man. They're writing on the wall, man.
Jimmy G is good as gone, man. His time in San Francisco is disco dead.
Yeah, man.
It's
just
dead.
A matter of time.
Yep. Okay. Next one for Pat P. The NFL set to announce a 17-game season coming up shortly. Did you hear that?
Yes, sir. I heard it this morning.
Oh, you just heard it. We had you. If we would have taken this last night, you wouldn't even know about it.
Hey, man, I'm going 100 for 100, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, so what are your thoughts about that?
Hey, matter of fact, Adam Scheffler posted.
Okay, what are your thoughts about 17-game season? How you hate it? You love it? You like it? What's up?
I think if they're gonna do 17 games, man, they got to take out that Thursday night game, man. I mean, that's
Thursday night is not going nowhere.
I know it ain't, but
it ain't going nowhere.
It is.
They said they're gonna remove one of the preseason games, so you guys will have 3. And check this out: 16 games has been in place since 1978. So having a 16-game season has been in place for a long time. But it's looking like they will add an extra game, and you guys will have one less preseason ball game.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. An extra check. You know what I mean? Extra check. Another opportunity to get an extra pick too, Pat. That's how you gotta look at it.
Yep. 100%.
Right. But right now, last time I checked, Pat P wears number 21. Until we hear otherwise, we're going to continue to have 21 questions for you guys. 21 questions is where we get a chance to interact with you, our fans, our faithful fans, listeners and viewers. If you want your questions to be answered in the future, leave a question attached to a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we may get to it on the show. This week's question comes from Rory Sumner, and this was provided on Twitter. So if you drop us a question on Twitter, you drop us a question on Apple Podcasts, we make sure we try to do our best to pick the best question to answer it on this show. Shout out to Rory Sumner for giving us this question. And make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, at ATC Covered Pod on Twitter. You guys know what our Instagram name is and the Facebook name is, All Things Covered Pod. Instagram has been doing numbers. The same can be said for Facebook and Twitter as well. So we appreciate you guys for following us. But this question is for, I guess we can both tag team this question, Pat Pete.
Okay.
Coming from Rory. Do you think NFL teams underrate certain traits of players that could translate to the NFL level just because they may not have seen it on film and in college? Example, why would a team not think Justin Jefferson can win on the outside just because LSU used him mostly in the slot his last season at LSU? So the question is, we saw Justin Jefferson dominate as an outside receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. And he feels like a lot of teams kind of slept on him because he didn't really get utilized that much outside LSU's offense, because him and Jamar Chase, to say the least, they used to line up quite a bit in the slot. So the question is, do you think teams underrate certain skill sets from players if they don't see a player doing certain things?
That's a good question. That's probably one of the best questions that we had in 21 questions. I will probably say no. And here's my
Yeah, you go ahead and I'll follow up with you, Pat.
Here's my reasoning why. I think obviously we all know what Jefferson, his skill, his size itself shows that he can win outside. But at the end of the day, LSU felt like it was best for him to get off on the inside. And when he came to the league, it just showed that he was more versatile to play inside and outside, which made him, in my opinion, that much more dangerous in the NFL, having the ability playing inside on the college level and having an opportunity to kind of move all over the place in the NFL. And I believe that's why he had such an amazing rookie campaign, having the ability to understand route concepts from the inside, and also coming to the NFL and having the ability to learn, under the offensive coordinator that he was able to play with, Adam Thielen, Chris Kirk, and all those guys. But I think the NFL do a really, especially nowadays, I think they really do a good job of scouting guys to see if they can play multiple positions, because of the simple fact of, you only are limited to a certain amount of numbers you can dress out. So you want to make sure guys can be able to do, multiple things, because that just brings more value, not only to the player, but to the team as well. So I do think teams do a great job of scouting guys all around. It's just all about what system that guy go to him and when, what coach that he's around that's able to, figure out his different skill set, plug him in different places to see where he's able to excel at as well, versus just excelling in his primary position.
Yeah, and this question isn't, specific to Justin Jefferson. He just used Justin Jefferson as an example. And I agree with you. And I think the good teams, they can scout well. They can look at how you go about your business in college, how you utilize your skill set, how you move, your movements, you know what I mean? Things that you do well to determine what you can do for them in their offense. In the bad organizations, they draft players and they don't utilize them the right way. That's why they're bad. That's why they're not winning, because it's not solely about having bad personnel. Sometimes it's more about having good personnel, but using them in a bad way, if that makes sense. And I think another example you could use would be Jalen Ramsey at Florida State. His last season there, if I'm not mistaken, he played the star position, which is like kind of that nickel dime role in most college defenses. And you didn't see him play a lot on the edge, because most offenses then would come out in multiple wide receiver sets, and that would cause him to be more in the nickel or the dime role. But then when he goes to Jacksonville, they were basically only utilizing him as an outside corner. And we didn't really see Jalen play a lot in the inside until this past season there in LA, and he still was productive. But remember, when he got to Jacksonville, he was a shutdown corner, and he was mostly being utilized as a outside corner. But if you go back to look at his last year at Florida State, he was utilized a lot inside as a slot. But it's all about the eye of the coaches. It's all about the eye of the scouts to be able to pinpoint and say, you know what, we see this kid play mostly in the slot in college, but I think he can still be a quality asset for our program outside. And he gives you the versatility to be able to do both. So some teams underrate certain traits of players, and the good teams, they don't. They usually hit on those players. And because of that, they're more successful than the bad teams. And shout out to Rory Sumner for that outstanding question. And you had Pat P thinking, you had myself thinking. So we appreciate you for giving us that question. And like I said, if you want to have your question answered here on our show, just leave us a 5-star review to the question on Apple Podcasts or Facebook or Twitter, and we'll make sure we get to them.